Right now, your future depends on the lottery you never signed up for, the family you were born into. Some children are lucky, raised in safe homes with every opportunity, but many others are born into cycles of poverty, abuse, or neglect, and the world simply looks away. Proposition believes children should not be punished for losing the birth lottery. That's why we're proud to support a world where all children are raised by the state. In my speech, I'll first set up this debate with definitions, framing, and burden of proof. Then I'll give you two arguments on fairness and safety. Finally, I'll compare both worlds directly. Now, we define this motion by children raised by the state. We mean the state has full responsibility for children's upbringing. This includes housing, nutrition, healthcare, education, and welfare. Parents no longer determine outcomes, though biological ties may remain in some limited sense, of course. This debate isn't about whether families sound warm and fuzzy, it's about outcomes. Which system consistently allows children to thrive, prevents harm, and maximizes fairness. Our burden for today is to prove that children overall live better lives when raised by the state. Opposition must defend the status quo, where parents determine life chances. If we show the birth lottery creates injustice and danger, we win today's debate. Now, moving on to our status quo, let me tell you something personal. In 2024, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay. The truth is, I only got through that time period because I was lucky. I had parents who could take me to the hospital, teachers who understood, and a system that supported me. But I realized something. If I had not been into a poorer or abusive family, my story would have been far more different. The same illness could have been meaning missing treatment, dropping out of school, or suffering alone. That's exactly how the status quo works. Children's future are determined by luck, the family they are born into, and this can be supported by UNICEF. UNICEF reports over 1 billion children live in multidimensional poverty, lacking safe housing, healthcare, or even education, and millions more face abuse behind closed doors. Even when states intervene, it is usually too late, Mr. Speaker. Only after the harm is permanent, this proves the status quo is fundamentally unjust. It rewards the lucky and condemns the unlucky. That's the system opposition is defending, Mr. Speaker. Now, our first argument for today is that the state guarantees a fair and safe upbringing. Only the state can guarantee fairness and safety because it removes the birth lottery, replaces it with professional system, and does so at a sustainable cost. Under our model, children grow up in state-run campuses. These are safe housing units grouped by age, staffed with trained caregivers, teachers, and child psychologists. They guarantee food, healthcare, and education for all. This removes the cruel randomness of the status quo, where one child is born into privilege and another into poverty or abuse. When every child starts with the same baseline, success is decided by effort and ability, not by wealth or background. Today, a poor but talented student often drops out of school or misses healthcare. In our world, they thrive, and society benefits from unlocking talent that would otherwise be wasted in the current status quo for today. The sad truth is, families are the single biggest source of abuse and neglect. Abuse thrives in secrecy. States only intervene after the damage is done. Our model prevents this from the start. Trained professionals, as I said before, accountability systems, and peer groups mean children grow up in safe environments where problems are detected early, Mr. Speaker. Now, opposition will come here and say that, but children need love. But love doesn't only come from biological parents, long-term mentors, peers, and stable caregivers from deep bonds, Mr. Speaker. What we replace is not love itself, but the risk of growing up unloved or abused. In fact, our model provides more stability because no child is abandoned to neglectful parents. Now, opposition might also come in and scream that it's too expensive, but raising children is already expensive, and it's just pushed onto parents unevenly. The state can do this at cheaper through economies of scale, such as shared facilities, bulk food and medicine, centralized schools. More importantly, it pays back. Every child educated and healthy means fewer prisons, lower welfare dependency, and more productivity. So, Mr. Speaker, the question isn't can we afford this, but can we afford wasting millions of lives to poverty and crime? Now, let's take our worst case scenario. Even in the worst case scenario of us, where the state struggles with resources, children still get food, housing, and schooling. That flaw is far higher than the worst case in their world. Being beaten at home, starving in poverty, or never being able to see a classroom forever. In comparative terms, our worst is better than their worst, while our best far outshines theirs. In our world, no child's life is left to luck. Every child grows up safe, equal, and capable of success. In their world, millions remain trapped in cycles of suffering. Now, I'd like to move on to my second argument, which is that it's breaking the cycle of unhealthy habits. Families often trap children in cycles of bad habit choices, but the state can break that cycle. Right now, for example, Malaysia, unhealthy habits are normalized inside families, from late night suppers to literally tea loaded with sugar. Children watch and copy these routines. By the time they're teenagers, these habits feel normal. And the cycle continues into the next generation. When the state takes responsibility, we disrupt this cycle at the root. State care allows us to standardize healthy practices such as balanced meal, regular exercise, medical checkups, even sleep schedules. Instead of inheriting bad habits, children grow up in environments where the default is healthy living. This doesn't just improve individual lives. Over decades, it creates healthier citizens, reduces preventable diseases like diabetes or heart failure, and lowers the burden on national healthcare. A healthier population also means a stronger workforce and greater economic productivity. Now, look at Japan. Since the 1980s, school diet reforms and strict oversight made fresh, balanced meals a norm for children. The result is one of the lowest childhood obesity rates in the developed world. If limited scale intervention in school can shift an entire culture, imagine the effect of the state raising every child. So, yeah. Now, I'd like to compare both worlds. Mr. Speaker, this debate comes down to a simple question. Do we have children's lives to luck, or do we guarantee them futures? In their world, a child's fate depends on the family's lottery. If you are lucky, you grow up safe. If you're unlucky, you're trapped in abuse, poverty, or neglect. And the state usually steps in too late. Even their best case cannot protect anyone, and their worst case condemns millions of children to lives of suffering. In our world, every child is guaranteed housing, food, education, and care. Abuse is prevented, not reacted to. Inequality is reset each generation. Even now, worst case, children still receive a baseline of safety and opportunity. That means our floor is higher and our ceiling is brighter, Mr. Speaker. Right now, your future depends on the lottery you never chose, the family you were born into. Opposition is asking you to defend that lottery. But Mr. Speaker, we don't gamble with children's lives. We don't accept that millions must lose just so a few can win. In our world, every child is safe, every child is equal, every child has a future. With that, I'm no longer proud to propose.